Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, join me, Rob McConnell, as together we'll investigate the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here on the X-Zone Radio TV show on XZBN and the X-Zone TV channel on Simul TV. Since 1990, the X-Zone Radio TV show has been the place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. Together, we'll investigate UFOs, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, psychic phenomenon, lake monsters, conspiracy theories, government cover-ups, the truth embargo, alien abductions, ESP, haunted locations from around the world, and so much more. With over 28 years of broadcasting and more than 4,500 individual guests, the X-Zone is truly a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality, as evidenced by the credibility, integrity, and professionalism of the guests that we bring to our international audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, X-Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X-Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X-Zone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Paranormal Stakeout. I'm Larry Lawson, your host and guide on our continuing journey to discover the answers of what really exists on the other side. And I'm coming to you from the headquarters of the X-Zone Radio and Television Broadcast Network in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, and I'm speaking to you from the studios of the Southern Command Post of the X-Zone Nation in beautiful Vero Beach and Fellsmere, Florida. Tonight's a special show. Those of you that have been with me for many of these shows in the past, we've had groups and families that have been investigating together. But tonight I'm actually bringing on two of the gentlemen that helped me begin my journey and the creation of our organization, the Florida Bureau of Paranormal Investigation. And it's my two sons. And so this is kind of an interesting and special night for me. I want to introduce to you Ryan and Evan Lawson. Ryan's interest peaked in the paranormal at about age 11 after a significant experience in St. Augustine, Florida at the Lighthouse, the famous lighthouse there. That event led to the creation of the Florida Bureau of Paranormal Investigation. As Ryan's interest in the field grew, he became one of the more skeptical voices of the FBPI, ensuring that evidence was always critically examined. Now, at age 21 and in college, he continues to be an integral part of the organization. Evan, on the other hand, has been part of the organization since he was 11, and his free spirit and open-minded view of the world allows him to be able to think outside the box. It was in his early years as a member of the FBPI he began to discover his ability to see and experience things about the paranormal that others could not. Now at age 19, Evan continues to hone his abilities and proves to be an important part of the team. So guys, welcome to Paranormal Stakeout.
Hello.
Hello, thank you.
It's been a journey, hasn't it, gentlemen?
Oh yeah.
It's been quite a journey.
Ryan, you were with me at the start, man. We went to St. Augustine.
Yes, sir.
It was your 10th birthday or 11th birthday? I can't remember.
I think it was the 11th.
Okay. That's what started this whole mess. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Oh man, we've been watching like all the ghost hunting TV shows for a few years beforehand, and it was like a tradition. Every single Wednesday we'd watch Ghost Hunters, and that was just our tradition. We watched it all the time, and then over time we were just like, wow, I wish we could do that. Wow, I wish we can go there and do all that stuff. And, one day we just did. Because for my 11th birthday, I'm like, Dad, you know what? I want to go to St. Augustine. We live in Florida. Why not? And that's what we did. And it just shot off from there.
Yeah, and that particular event there, you remember what happened? Kind of give a description of what happened that night. That was kind of an intriguing event.
Yeah. So we went on the tour. I forget the specific name of the tour that they were giving, but it was a tour of the Lighthouse. And we just had so much fun during the tour that we decided, hey, let's do it again. So the people said, well, since you've already done it, go ahead and go in the Lighthouse while we do the tour in the
with the other folks.
With the other folks, yeah. And so while the tour for them was in the conductor, the guy who ran the Lighthouse's his house, while we were in the Lighthouse, and we went about halfway up, and we just decided to sit and listen, because that's like that's a key thing you have to do when ghost hunting, just sitting and listening and waiting for something to happen. And about 20 minutes in, we heard a little girl laugh, and it kind of freaked us out a little bit. But the first thing we did is, okay, we're going to look around, see if there's anything like to make that noise.
Microphones, speakers, whatever.
Yeah. And we could not find it. And so we started walking down, and we heard it again. And then we're just like, okay. And that's when we left the Lighthouse that night, and it was an amazing experience. I still remember it to this day.
Yeah, and it just seems like yesterday, yet it was so long ago. What actually got your interest in investigating the paranormal, Ryan? I know we watched the shows, but what about it really intrigued you, especially at that young age? Because I want to talk to you about youngsters doing this a little bit later in the show. What was it that really grabbed you?
Just learning, knowing what's out there. I mean, little kids are curious about everything. And that's one thing I just kind of latched onto. Like I said before, we watched the shows all the time. I was being introduced to it, and we even went to St. Augustine. It was just one of those things where I want to learn more about it,
Did you wonder, did you have any concept at that age of the other side, of life after death? Was that something you even thought about at that young age?
I mean, not for myself, but kind of, yeah, because, everywhere, people talk about the paranormal, people talk about life and death, even when you go to church and stuff, they talk about it too. But not as a whole, not really. I never thought I knew about it, but I never got into like critical thinking about it.
Has that evolved for you as time has gone on?
Oh yeah. Definitely. I mean, I think more and more about it. I want to learn more about it, but, still respect it at the same time, if that makes any sense.
It actually does. But I find you to be very skeptical. You're not somebody that. Why are you skeptical? Talk to me about how you view things and how you view evidence.
Well, my belief is, about 95% of the time, it's coming from your own head. Like I'll see people on some of our, investigations and stuff, and they'll be in a dark room, they'll be doing an EVP session, and you can already tell they're kind of like freaking themselves out a little bit. And then they'll hear something or they'll see something, but it's just a car light going through the window, or it's the AC turning on, and it can make you very jumpy. And when I was younger, that happened to me all the time. I would psych myself out. But you just got to learn what is actually happening. You really got to sit there and look at the evidence. You got to look at your environment. You got to try and stay as calm as you possibly can. And go ahead.
No. I'm just. It's easy to say, but it's tough to do. And you talk about our investigations. We do events with folks that we invited to come out. How do you find that that's a big issue with folks that come? And I don't even want to call it a ghost hunt. When we do our events, it's more of an experience.
Yeah.
Do you find that this is really common with folks that are coming the first time, or do you find that most folks can settle down and critically look at this, look at what's happening, or do you find most of them do freak themselves out? I guess is what I'm trying to ask you.
Yeah, it's half and half in my opinion. I feel like there's a lot of people out there that can just stay calm and just do it and look at it in a scientific way, I guess is the best way to put it. And then I could see a lot of, and you can tell, like a lot of people come in, it's their first time doing it. Maybe somebody asked them to come, and they're kind of like shaken a little bit, and they can get uncomfortable very easily. And things can happen, and it may not actually be happening. And when that happens to people, I just tell them, just try and relax. Nothing's going to hurt you. Nothing's going to freak you out, So, yeah.
Yeah, I do find you to be a calming influence, I've got to say. Now, in these events, you talk about a lot of people get themselves worked up, get themselves psyched out or freaked out, if you will. Have you ever seen anything actually legitimately happen at one of these events?
Oh, yeah, all the time. Things do happen. That 5% when things happen, it does happen, especially on our events. I'm going to talk about the old schoolhouse in Fellsmere.
Now that's in Fellsmere, Florida. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Our event we had not too long ago, the last one we had, we were using the spirit box.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing's just cycling through all the channels. Questions are being asked, but then we hear the word incoming coming out. And almost immediately after that, the elevator started moving, and we just hear this loud bang come from the inside. And then we heard a laugh come through the spirit box. And to me, that's the coincidence of having that bang and the word incoming coming out, the bang and the laugh, like simultaneously right after each other. All
right. Well, I got to ask you this, Ryan, because I remember that happening because you led one of the teams. Mm-hmm. What's to say that could it have been coincidence? The spirit box, for those of you that aren't familiar with it, is something that cycles through radio frequencies, and the theory is that the white noise in between the frequencies that's cycling is where folks maybe hear words. Is there a chance the word incoming followed by the laugh, could it have been a coincidence? Could it have been a radio station from what you heard?
It could have been. I mean, there's no exactly saying unless you hear it was me or like some entity coming from the spirit box confirming that was them. You can't you can't 100% confirm it. It could be coincidence. There's always a chance for it to be coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah.
But yeah, that did freak a few folks out. There's no doubt about that. And that schoolhouse can be pretty darn creepy. I kind of enjoy the one story you have up there with you came down one night when they were laughing in your ear.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. We're about ready to take our first break. I'm going to let you finish that when we come back, and then it's time to get your brother on here and chat with him a little bit. So, folks, stay with us. We're about to take our first break. This is Paranormal Stakeout, and I have Ryan and Evan Lawson, two of the founding members of the Florida Bureau of Paranormal Investigation, with me tonight, my two sons. So, folks, stay with us. We'll be right back after this break.
It's hard to listen to the news without realizing we're living in volatile, unprecedented times. Yet never has there been such an opportunity to transform the human condition. As old structures fail, where can we find the guidance to co-create a better way? Find Your Path Home is an ever-evolving, leading-edge information, education, and healing resource center designed to support and guide you on your path to unity and enlightenment. Based on sound principles employed by shaman worldwide, we provide techniques that can support you through the current transitions, offering online shamanic classes, international long-distance shamanic healing sessions, complimentary Mission Evolution radio episodes and Stairway to Heaven TV vignettes, seminars, retreats, and much more. All of this can be found on findyourpathhome.com.
So I was watching the X Zone TV channel last night when I was abducted by aliens, and they kept repeating to me over and over again, simultv.com, simultv.com.
What's simultv.com?
That's what I asked them. They had it written on the side of their UFO.
How do you spell that?
UFO.
No, I mean simultv.com.
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 Right. simultv.com.
Interesting that you were abducted by aliens in a simultv.com UFO last night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I remember now last night I was awakened from a deep sleep. My great-grandmother was standing there. She said she'd come from the hereafter to tell me about simultv.com. She even spelled it out for me. simultv.com, sonny boy.
simultv.com.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, you'll never guess what my psychic guru just told me.
simultv.com.
Exactly. Are you guys psychic too?
Of course.
We all know about simultv.com. simultv.com.
And we are back on Paranormal Stakeout with my guests tonight, Evan and Ryan Lawson, two of the founding members of the Florida Bureau of Paranormal Investigation, my two boys. Now, Ryan, just before the break, we briefly talked about an event that happened in the Fellsmere Old School. And I got to kind of set the stage because you tend to be a very serious individual. Don't laugh a lot. Don't joke a lot. Well, not at least you don't make a lot of laughs. But you had an event that happened that night, or something that happened one night in that school that really shook me. Why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, I mean, so many things have happened inside that schoolhouse, and so I get used to it. But it's always, I can't say I get used to it. Sometimes it'll startle me when things happen, but I'm somewhat used to it. So what happened was we're finishing up with a tour, and I go up to the choir room on the second floor, and I go ahead and try to lock the door, and it's kind of dim in there. So I'm trying to get the key in the lock, and I'm just talking to myself, getting angry because I just want to get it locked. And then I just hear a bunch of little kids, like right behind my right ear, start laughing. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I go ahead and I lock it, and I walk down very calmly, and I look my dad straight in the eye, and I'm just like, Dad, they're laughing at me.
And I'm like, who's laughing at you? And you said?
The kids.
Yeah, that is an interesting place. And we're going to go into more stories here in just a few minutes, but got to get your brother on because otherwise the little sibling rivalry is going to start coming into play there. So, Evan, you still with us?
Yep, right here.
Okay. How did you came in late. Your brother and I went to St. Augustine. You really wanted to be part of this. Why? What made you want to become part of this journey we're on?
Well, the original start of it was, seeing, my brother Ryan do it first, being the younger brother, I was just like, I got to do that now. So
okay.
that was the original reason why. The other reason why is, I was always on the other side of the couch watching all the shows along with them. So I myself was curious about what it all was and what the experience was like. So it was kind of like there was a few reasons why I wanted to join in to the fun.
Well, what are some of your earliest experiences? I mean, you finally got in, and I was kind of strict about that. You had hit 11 before I let you become involved. What were some of your earlier experiences that kind of got you energized?
My earlier experiences, probably it was another time we went to the old school. This time we were in the Lightkeeper's house instead of the actual lighthouse.
Oh, you're talking about St. Augustine.
St. Augustine. I'm sorry, St. Augustine. And we were on the third floor, or the second floor rather, the ballroom. And it was me, Ryan, and you, and we clearly heard a little girl laughing. I did, and it was probably my first experience with the paranormal. And at that moment, I was like, "Oh, okay, this is not just a TV show anymore." So that was probably my earliest experience.
And just to clarify for folks that may not be familiar with the Lighthouse in St. Augustine, as it was being built, the construction manager, his daughters were killed in an accident on the rail cart they used to bring supplies up from the beach to the construction site, and they used to play on it. And they had a tragic accident during the construction, and three of his daughters died, I believe. And that's where the reference to the little girls laughing come at the St. Augustine Lighthouse. So time's going on, Evan. You're getting more involved, and now you're one of my team leaders when we do our events.
Yep.
When did you start? Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just agreeing with you.
Okay. But some other things began to happen with you. Something I didn't expect. Can you kind of go into that a little bit?
Yeah. I'm assuming you're talking about the what
Your
happened
gift.
at. Yes. Okay. So we were doing one of our tours, and it was we went to a place called the Section Foreman's House, which is one of the first buildings in Fellsmere, and I was just standing there. Our team was kind of walking around, and I got this weird feeling that I've never gotten before, and I just felt like there was a presence there, and I looked out amongst the trees, and through my mind's eye, I didn't physically see them, but through my mind's eye, I could see the just rows of beings which I felt were Indians for some reason, and they were just watching us from behind the trees, and it was the first time I've ever felt anything like this, or saw anything like this, and I just stood there watching, and I grew colder. I didn't learn this till later, but apparently I was cold to the touch. My dad saw me. And being, super dad, he runs over and he knows that something is wrong, and he gets me out of there. And the farther I got away, the better I felt. But that was the first moment where I discovered that I might have a little bit of a sensitivity to this stuff.
What's happened since is that, I've always had a problem. I'm going to tell you, I think I've explained this to you before. I had problems with folks that said they were mediums. I didn't really grasp it as a longtime policeman, hearing folks that claimed to be mediums trying to give me information that wasn't correct. I really was skeptical about the whole thing. But watching you, that was part of my metamorphosis, that I'm a lot more open to it than I used to be. How did this begin to develop? Now, I remember that night fairly well. You said, Dad, they're watching us. And I looked across, and who's watching us? And you said the Indians. Now, once again, historically, we know that area was inhabited by the Ais and later the Seminole Indians. So that was a historical piece of information that came along with that helped. What other things have happened to you that have kind of given you the idea that perhaps you have this gift, or at least you have some level of sensitivity?
There are it's really hard to think of a specific moment, but I know in several different locations I've gotten just feelings like something is happening, or there have been times where we've been in in a cemetery, for example, and I just got the feeling like I'm being like kind of pressured down, or there's lots of things like coming to me all at once, and it was overwhelming. But to pinpoint an exact time is kind of difficult.
Are you ever concerned that it's perhaps maybe your imagination or emotions are overtaking you? Or how do you discern between the two, whether it's an actual feeling of something being there as compared to maybe your emotions taking over?
Oh, all the time. I always have that second thought of like, okay, this might be just in my head, and it's especially in the very beginning. I just thought this was just in my head. Like, I tried to get really logical about it, and I'm like, okay, this can't be. It has to be some other reason. And even to this day, to an extent, I doubt a lot of what I feel. It's just because it is so kind of like unbelievable. It is so like difficult to grasp. So I try my best to look at it in a logical way. So I don't start like clouding evidence or putting out or just straight up lying by accident. I always try to filter it through a logical filter. So, which kind of becomes difficult because logic and, not logic kind of clash sometimes. And that's where it really gets a little difficult.
And I know you've actually struggled over it, and I've watched you come to me and say that you're just not sure if it's real. Yet there's been several times that you've come to us with information that has proven historically to be correct. I mean, and we've also had connections with that entity we call Billy in the school, for example, that you've been able to help with. Did you get anything when you were younger? I mean, we talk about what happened at the section foreman's house, but did you have anything when you were younger that gave you pause, that made you think that you're seeing something you shouldn't be, or did this come later?
No, I looking back, I think the signs were there. I just assumed that every kid got like that. Does that make sense? Like, I'd be like laying in my bed and I'd get like the feeling that there was someone like standing there. Or I would be like walking around and I'd be like, oh, there's someone watching me there. But I just assumed at the time that was just like normal, like person feelings, like, oh, every kid feels like they have a guy standing over them while they sleep. It's just me psyching myself out. It wasn't until that event that I started looking back and thinking, wait, what if this was something a little bit more than that?
Yeah. And are you starting to come to terms with it at all? Are you doing anything to develop it further?
I've definitely come to terms with it better than I had back then. I'm starting to. I found that I am taking a little bit of precautions and trying to develop it a little bit better. I have like techniques that I do that help me do it a little bit more accurately and a little bit safer. So I have been working towards improving what I can do, but I always face it with a sense of skepticism. Yeah, it's just so it's not inaccurate.
Okay. Well, listen, this is running pretty fast, boys, so we're going to get ready to take our second break here. This is Paranormal Stakeout. I have with me tonight Ryan and Evan Lawson, two of the founding members of the Florida Bureau of Paranormal Investigation. And when we come back after this next break, we're going to start talking about philosophies. So stay tuned.
How would your life change if you could develop the business and personal skills that you need in order to make more money? Do you want to learn how to achieve your big life goals faster? Then go to findhiddenmoney.com and get the Goal for It online course. The course teaches you how you can set and achieve your biggest goals while completely overcoming the roadblocks to your goals so that you can realize your dreams and imagine more success. Go to findhiddenmoney.com.
Memorable dynamic presentations are a not-so-secret weapon in the business world. Do you have a powerful message that must be shared, but you haven't found a way to deliver that message? Do you want to be known as a top public speaker who gets amazing results? Are you ready to create and deliver your powerful message? Thomas Hides can help you create and deliver your speech to get the results you desire. Visit iconquality.com.
Did you expect your business to flourish, but instead it plateaued or didn't get off the ground yet? Would you like to achieve massive goals and discover new sources of income within your business? When you're ready to experience that type of success with fast results, Cindy Hendricks is the business coach for you. Her work with entrepreneurs and business owners has been life-changing. To get you and your business where you want to be, go to imaginemoresuccess.com.
Has the fear of public speaking stalled your business or personal life? What would you give to develop and maintain supreme confidence? Have an invaluable private program to always perform at your best. Imagine how you would feel. You can have all that and so much more today with Thomas Hides' life-changing course called Number One Fear Unleashed. Visit numberonefear.com and be liberated from your fear of public speaking.
And we are back on Paranormal Stakeout with my guests tonight, Ryan and Evan Lawson, two of the founding members of the Florida Bureau of Paranormal Investigation, and my two sons. Guys, lots happened over the last 10 years. We've all grown together in this field. But I'd like to know a little bit of what you think this whole phenomenon is. For example, what do you think a ghost is? What is your opinion on what a ghost is? Evan, you go first.
For a ghost, I believe that it's energy. For that kind of, it's just energy that comes from us, because we're all like beings of energy. So for me, it makes sense that part of that energy becomes the entity.
So you're saying that the energy that of us, that's what we're seeing. It's not is it a spirit? Is it what should be going to heaven, or is it just residual energy?
I believe that it is residual energy from us, passing on, and our energy just kind of comes out from that.
Does it retain our personality?
I think so. I don't quite know how. But it definitely has. It definitely keeps the personality.
Can you give us an example of this energy keeping the personality? I know you've got a couple of good examples.
Yes. Billy in the old schoolhouse. He is quite the prankster, the trickster. He constantly, even through the dowsing rods, he finds a way to make a joke. Or like at the Marsh Landing, we have the guy in the bar who constantly he's kind of grumpy. He doesn't like me very much, and he makes that very apparent. So they definitely have personality.
So now, can you explain to the audience the difference between a residual haunt and an intelligent haunt?
Sure thing. A residual haunt is kind of like a recorder. It plays back and back and back over and over again. It doesn't respond to you. It is unable to answer your questions. It's kind of like the energy is trapped within the building itself, and it's just kind of playing over again. While an intelligent haunt is one that retains the personality and it can answer the questions and manipulate things. It's not going in just one straight line. It's going all over the place and making decisions.
Mm-hmm. So but it's energy. That is your philosophy. It's the energy of those that were before us.
Yes.
Okay. Ryan, what say you? What's a ghost in your opinion?
It's pretty close to what Evan says. I personally think there's your soul and the spirit per se. Your soul passes on. That's what goes on to heaven and all that, when you pass away. But like Evan said, we are beings of energy, and that spirit will stay on. And that's what the ghost would be. It would be here.
So considering that philosophy, then, would it be you'll hear folks that are psychics and mediums talk about the spirit world and spirit leading folks and maybe coming back in another life, maybe going on to another plane. You're kind of describing that as being the soul, then, I guess, whereas what we're seeing here in our physical being is just that energy. Would that be an accurate description?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay. Why do you think these spirits? Why do you think that energy is trapped? Do you think it's a physical thing? Do you think it's just like the whether it's quartz or the woods grabbing it, or do you think there's any reason that they would be trapped here? I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I don't think it would. Yeah, you could say it's trapped, but we could never. I personally don't know. For me, this is just my personal belief. I think maybe it has to do with something like a separation like the separation of mind, body, and soul, if you want to think of it like that. Something stays here, but your body stays here, and your body creates that energy. Your physical body creates your energy. As your soul moves on, your body is still here, and where does that energy go? If you think about it, energy cannot be, created nor destroyed, only transferred. That energy is being transferred into something else, and that's kind of walking around, if that makes any sense to you.
Yeah, it does. That's well put. Now, what do you think of the theories of dimensions? Einstein talked about parallel dimensions. What have you guys got what's your opinion on that as far as this phenomenon?
To an extent, I think it can be. I don't believe that because if it were dimensions, right, then what's keeping people on the other dimension? Wouldn't we be seeing investigators from the other dimension coming up to us being like, is there anyone here with us right now? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess it does. That's a good point.
So that's what's keeping me away from the dimensions theory. Unless it's kind of like a thing where it's a one-way trip, which I don't know if that would make much sense in that term. But yeah, that really doesn't work for me only for that reason.
Okay, Ryan?
I feel the same way. I don't think the dimensions theory really, it doesn't do it for me, is the best way to put it.
Okay.
Just like Evan said, what keeps it from other investigators from other points in time or dimensions coming and seeing us? Now, if you want to put it like people saying something or asking questions from the quote-unquote other side, and you can hear that, and those are the investigators from the other side asking those questions, but you just never know. I mean, I don't believe in the dimensional theory so much just because of basically what Evan said.
Okay. How are we going to prove this either way, guys? What are your thoughts? I mean, you hear me talk about it. You hear me, expound upon it during my meetings and whatnot. But how do you guys think we're going to solve this, or are we going to solve this mystery?
In the words of the great Larry Lawson, until Abraham Lincoln pulls a chair up next to me and tells me exactly what it is on the other side, we will never know.
I agree with that. I think it's a mystery that is worth being investigated, but I don't think it's a mystery that will ever be solved.
Oh, come on, guys! You got to have faith.
Okay. Exactly what Ryan just said, though. Unless we get like absolute proof, undeniable proof, like Abraham Lincoln sitting down, or if we get like an EVP of Abraham Lincoln, like saying these things, like it's like a full string sentence. It's really hard to undeniably say it, unless this happens.
All right. Okay. See, that's not acceptable to me, guys. There's got to be an answer. That's the detective in me. There's got to be.
But that's the reason why we do this. We are, quote unquote, investigators. We're trying to figure it out. And there's the skeptical side of me, because that's just how I am. Thinks we're never going to be able to figure it out. But there's always that sense of adventure per se in all of us, and that's why we're doing this. We want to know, even if somebody says we don't know, you're not gonna know. We want to try and figure it out. We want to know. Even though we may not get there, we want to try and get there.
Oh, yeah. I totally agree.
Okay. What if during this quest, during this journey, it actually comes to us through our investigative techniques that it's all in our own mind? It doesn't really exist. How would you guys take that?
It'd be disappointing.
Well, I would, because I do come at it with such a open-minded perspective, I wouldn't be too surprised, because for me it's like I look at it that way. So if that were the case, I'd be like, okay, I was prepared for this. I'm prepared for any case. So I'd be like, okay.
Yeah, but what about all the hard work, of us?
It was still fun. It was still fun. It's still fun to investigate new things.
Go ahead, Ryan. Finish what you were saying.
No, that's basically what I was saying. What all the hard work, because we've been doing this for years, you know. And so, like, after say 30 years of doing this, you know, we've just been constantly doing this, and then it just smacks you right in the face. All I don't think, you know, I'm a skeptic, yes, but I've been putting so much time and effort into it. I truly do believe there's something out there. I don't know if I'd want to accept it. I mean, part of me would, part of me wouldn't, you know?
Okay. All right. So the bottom line is you're going to keep working, and you better, because we've got a lot of work to do, and you guys, I'm not going to let you off that easily. So
yes, sir.
We got a lot of work yet to go. How young should a person be before they start doing this kind of work? You guys got any thoughts on that?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think around 15.
Oh, you were belly aching at me when I wouldn't let you in before 11, but now you're saying 15.
I know, but now I'm older, and I can see that when it comes to this, it's kind of a very delicate science, right? So there is a kind of maturity you have to be able to do it, to ask the right questions, to be safe and protect yourself from anything that might want to do you harm. There is a kind of maturity that you have to walk into it with.
That's why I say 18. You know,
18, wow.
I think you need to be very mature to do this. You know, it's not something to play around with. I've seen a lot of kids that are younger come in here and just think, guess what? It's time to goof around and find some ghosts. No, that's not how it works. You know, you got to be patient. You got to just know what's going on.
Okay, and Ryan, I got to cut you off there, buddy, because we are about to come up on our last break. This hour is going fast. So, folks, stay with us for the last portion of our show tonight, Paranormal Stakeout. We'll be back right after this.
If you are looking for a safe, zero-calorie natural option to the harmful artificial sweeteners on the market today, Just Like Sugar is what you're looking for. Just Like Sugar is a wonderful natural alternative for those health-conscious people who choose a calorie-restricted diet with a great, pure, sweet flavor that tastes just like sugar. Just Like Sugar is a great natural option for people suffering from diabetes and may be useful in restricted diet programs where standard sugars are not allowed and does not cause a laxative effect of some other sweeteners. Just Like Sugar comprises a perfect blend of chicory root fiber, natural calcium, natural vitamin C, and Just Like Sugar's sweetness comes from the natural flavors from the peel of the orange. Just Like Sugar is a natural alternative to harmful artificial sweeteners and will change the way that you believe all natural sweetener products taste. Just Like Sugar is available at your local Whole Foods markets, Wild Oats markets, Henry's, Sun Harvest, and many other fine natural food stores in the U.S., Canada, and worldwide. They are here, and they've been here for thousands of years, making their presence known in the shadows. They might be seen by a lonely motorist on a deserted road late at night, or by a frightened and confused husband in the bedroom he is sharing with his wife. But who are they? What do they want? Why are they here? Perhaps most concerning, has the government been aware of their presence all along? The new book by Ellie Marzulli, UFO Disclosure, the 70-year cover-up exposed, delves into the world of UFOs. Can full disclosure be soon? Order now and receive a free hour and 37-minute DVD on the UFO phenomenon. UFOs are real. Get both the book and the DVD, a $40 value, for only $19.99. To order your book and DVD today, go to lamarzulli.net. That's LAMARZULLI.net.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X-Zone, Sci-Fi, and Horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world, interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
And we are back for our final segment tonight on Paranormal Stakeout with my guests, Ryan and Evan Lawson, co-founders, two of the co-founders of the Florida Bureau of Paranormal Investigation and my two sons. And before we go any further, I got to invite everybody to check out the other great programming on the X-Zone Radio and Television Broadcast Network. Go to www.xzbn.net to see all the terrific shows out there, including this one, Paranormal Stakeout. And you can visit me at my website at www.paranormalstakeout.com. And I'd also like to invite you to my team's website, where you can even see more about my two guests tonight at www.paranormalfbi.com. Well, guys, our first show together, and we're heading down to the last stretch here. We were talking a little bit about young people getting involved in this, and I don't think that's a subject that gets talked about very often. I know that some of our walking tours, and then we have events, I will occasionally get questions from folks. My son or my daughter is this age, is that too young? And it's really an open-ended question. But now you guys are talking about, Evan, you're saying 15, and Ryan, now for maturity reasons, you're even saying 18. But what really, really caught my ear, gentlemen, is the issue of safety. Which one of you would like to jump in on that one?
I'll jump in first.
Go ahead.
You don't. It's the type of field where you kind of don't. You need to respect what's going on. You don't want to upset what's on the other side. You need to treat this whole thing with respect, because in some way something might, latch on to you or follow you home, and then that just creates a whole slew of issues. When you're doing this, you need to respect what's going on, because that's
how?
What do you don't go out and provoking things.
Okay.
Don't go out and be like, "Come to me, spirits. Show me what you've got." Stuff like that. You should never, ever, ever do that. Provoking, calling them out, stuff like that. Just don't do it. It is the most unsafe thing you can do in this field.
Mm-hmm.
Next to going to places you probably shouldn't be going into.
What say you, Evan?
I agree. You don't always know what you're talking to, and you don't know what you're inviting. So you always need to take precautions when you do this kind of thing. You don't want to accidentally take something home with you that is going to ruin everything.
Okay.
No, go on.
How do you prevent that, gentlemen? How, talk about how we do it. And Evan, you in particular, you've got that other aspect of this whole thing. How do you guys protect yourselves?
I'll let you go first, Ryan.
Basically, in my mind, you have, and this is what I've been taught, this is what I've been shown over the years, you have domain over your body. Whenever you finish an investigation, right before you leave your venue, you need to say, "You cannot follow me home. You must stay here." And doing that basically protects yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Evan?
For me, it's kind of difficult, because me having a little bit of sensitivity to it kind of makes me kind of like a lantern to a moth. They're kind of drawn to me, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. But exactly what Ryan said, you have to understand you have dominion over your own life. So if you set your own boundaries that you cannot come home with me, you must stay here, usually they will follow that. Mm-hmm. If not, if I want to get extra protected, I kind of call on my grandfather, because he's kind of the person that I find protects me. I kind of see him as my protector, so I ask him to, like, "Hey, can you kind of help me out here?" And usually that works.
And that's my dad, right?
Yes, that's your dad.
Yeah. And of course, one of our protocols now when we're conducting a team investigation is a prayer to begin with and a prayer to end. And there's all kinds of interesting thoughts and ways that different teams do it. But you guys would agree, at least doing something.
Yeah,
to protect yourself.
You can't just go in. You can't go in unprepared. You can.
Yeah. I might add, you guys are making me feel like Father of the Year. I let you both start doing this at 11, and now you're telling me 15 and 18.
Well,
So
the thing is,
You've
we
trained
didn't
us.
know.
You've trained us well.
You did train us well, but we didn't know at the time either. And doing this for so many years, it kind of enlightens you, and you learn. I mean, we probably shouldn't have done it at that age, but we wouldn't have learned, you know? And now we can pass that information on to other people.
And isn't that what's important, guys? As we learn, as we grow, we teach others the right way, the respectful way, the proper way to do this. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Definitely.
absolutely.
Yeah. Favorite pieces of equipment? I'm curious, because I see you guys use different pieces of equipment. Ryan, what's your favorite piece?
I love my laser grid.
Why? Tell us why.
So I have actually caught a few things on the laser grid. I think it's awesome.
Well, what is it? Explain what it is.
Basically, it's one of those high-density laser pointers. You know, like the ones you shoot up at airplanes, which you should not do. But
Don't ever do that, folks.
Don't do that. But as an example, but it's instead of one big continuous beam, it shoots out hundreds of little dots, and it covers about, what would you say, 500, and you can even split down to 100, and you put it in a big area, and you just leave it there, and you can see shadows go by it. And I've caught a few shadows on that thing, and I've other people seeing it too. And it's just, I just think it's awesome.
So laser grid, any other piece of equipment you particularly enjoy?
Boo Buddy. It's a good sugar object. I stole that from you, didn't I?
Oh.
What's Boo Buddy, Ryan? Explain that to our listeners.
I'll let Evan explain that one because it's his favorite one.
Thank you. So I'll explain Boo Buddy real quick. It is a terrifying piece of equipment. It is basically a stuffed bear that asks questions and conducts EVP sessions for you, which is electronic voice phenomenon.
Well, okay, before you freak everybody out saying we got haunted teddy bears with us, why is it doing that? What's it got in it?
It's got a voice box, and it's got a battery pack, and it asks it just cycles through questions like you put
pre-recorded questions.
Pre-recorded questions, yes. It's got other features like if something touches it, it goes, "Ooh, that tickles," or if it turns cold, its paw turns blue. If it gets warm, its paws turn red. But I don't like it because you're in the middle of like a dark room, and all of a sudden you hear, "Let's say our ABCs." And it doesn't do it for me, as Brian so eloquently put.
Well, wait a minute. I'm asking for your favorite pieces of equipment.
Oh, my favorite piece. Oh, well, he asked me to explain it. Sorry. So my favorite piece is the dowsing rods. I love the dowsing rods. It's my baby. I love it because what it is two rods, and you hold it by beads or something that's surrounding the metal rod. And it moves. It crosses if the answer is yes, and it splits apart if the answer is no. Now that it changes between who's using the dowsing rods, because some people have it open for yes, cross for no. It's whatever.
Okay. Let's back up a little bit. Dowsing rods. Explain what they are. Explain how you use them. What was their original function?
Well, their original use was to find water. That's what we as humans used them for originally. But when you're using it for the paranormal side of things, you have to understand a few things. First of all, in my experience in using dowsing rods, not everyone can use them. It's like a 50-50 shot between if they work for you or not. And that's kind of non-negotiable. Like for some reason it works for one person, doesn't work for another person. I don't know why. Now that's just from my experience. Also, when you're using dowsing rods, they're not just using their energy to move the rods, they're also borrowing some of yours. And that's not something to be afraid of unless you're doing like a super long dowsing rod session. But yeah, so you just understand that they're using some of your energy to move the rods as well. But I like it because it's physical equipment. It's not electrical. There's no wires in it. It's just good old-fashioned ghost hunting, and I just think that's cool.
And we've had some pretty interesting experiences with the rods, you using the rods and getting corroborating information on other pieces of equipment. So I can tell you that. In our last couple of minutes, guys, I want to know your favorite spots. We've been to bunch of different spots to investigate. Tell me your favorite spot and why. Evan, you go first.
Oh wow, there's so many cool ones. My favorite spot I gotta give it to the Lighthouse in St. Augustine. It's just such a beautiful area. The whole place around it's beautiful. It's haunted as heck, that's for sure. And it's such a cool place to investigate. I hope to go there again with all the new stuff that I know now, and investigate it in the future. But I love the area around it, and I love the structure itself.
Okay, Ryan, what's your favorite spot?
I guess you could say this is cheating, but Fellsmere, the schoolhouse, and like the Marsh Landing that we go to.
Mm-hmm.
You can never go wrong. There's just so much stuff going on there. I love to go and investigate there. Learn more about it every time we go. We see stuff, hear stuff. It's just a very active spot.
What is your most significant memory from either the schoolhouse or the Marsh Landing?
I think it has to be the picture that we took, the best picture.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to describe because we can't show it to anyone, but you know what I'm talking about.
Actually, some folks have seen it now, and it's a pretty cool picture. Evan,
yes,
your most significant piece of evidence in our last week. We got about 15 seconds here, brother.
All right. Okay. So, best piece of evidence. I saw an orb. We were in a cemetery, and I saw a big blue orb, like with my eyes, go up and then into a gravestone.
Okay, great. With that, guys, I hate to cut you off, but we're at the end of the show. Thanks for joining me tonight, guys. It was great being on with my sons. What a proud moment for Dad. Thanks, everybody, for joining us, and we'll see you on the other side next time on Paranormal Stakeout.
Little children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, join me, Rob McConnell, as together we'll investigate the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here on the X-Zone Radio TV show on XZBN and the X-Zone TV channel on Simul TV. Since 1990, the X-Zone Radio TV show has been the place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. Together, we'll investigate UFOs, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, psychic phenomenon, lake monsters, conspiracy theories, government cover-ups, the truth embargo, alien abductions, ESP, haunted locations from around the world, and so much more. With over 28 years of broadcasting and more than 4,500 individual guests, the X-Zone is truly a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality, as evidenced by the credibility, integrity, and professionalism of the guests that we bring to our international audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, X-Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X-Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X Zone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light.